So this is something that I have not wanted to talk about, but I also have wanted to talk about. And the reason why is because it's a political subject. And I'm not going to make friends by making this video. And I've seen a lot of people lately very upset over what happened with abortion in the Supreme Court. That's all in the news. That's not what this video is about. I was very upset about that ruling too. But I think that people are missing the point of what's really going on politically and what we should be focusing on. And what I mean by that is right now we're having January 6 hearings with very damning evidence against the president that was in office when this went down. And people aren't realizing that yes, that Supreme Court ruling was something that was in the works for many, many years. But the reason that they did it when they did is to distract you and make you angry enough that you wouldn't pay attention to this very damning evidence over their cause. And what I mean by that is these are Republicans that went to this Capitol, rioted it, destroyed it. And so when you go in, when they take this abortion thing away from you, they want it's easier for them to make you angry about that than it is for and get your mind off of that, because this is what happens in politics. Happens a lot. I don't know if you've ever heard this term, but there's a term out there. They create a culture war to distract you from the class war, and that's a very politically charged term, and it means exactly what I just said. Things are made to distract you, and this was one of them. And while was something that had been in the works for a long time and probably would have happened anyways, they're doing it now and putting the things in place now so you don't pay attention. And I think what I noticed today, because I'm someone who's been watching these January 6th hearings very constantly and very like very vigilantly, because I used to be a Trump supporter. Not a very vocal one. Like, I was one of the ones that if Trump said something shitty, I'd call him out, right? But January 6th changed. And it changed for a lot of people. And what I mean by that is there are people out there going, these are just unfair allegations against the president without evidence. There are people saying things about how this is just an act from the Democrats. And you look at this and you go, did you even watch the damn trials? Because, so there was a documentary that actually came out in theaters called 20,000 Meals. I did not watch this documentary, but when you break down the evidence of that documentary and what was actually in that documentary, it is very, very minuscule compared to what they have. Okay? We have videos, we have recordings, we have photos, we have multiple eyewitness accounts from all sorts of places, and yet it's not enough for these people. It's not enough that we have all this damning evidence against what happened that day. It's not enough for these people. It just isn't. And if you say, "Oh, it's attack from the left," that's ignoring the fact that all these people who were speaking out against what happened that day, almost all of them, guess what, are Republicans. Do you think Republicans are out to get you too? Because this is what they're doing to you. They're telling you that everybody's out to get you, making you so angry. Because that's exactly what happened that day. That's what led up to that day. People playing you so well to make you angry about things that aren't even real. Or maybe they're partially real, but they're real in a way that is very misleading. And that's why I felt the need to talk about it, because what I saw today was a lot of the news sources that have been calling this stuff fake are now backpedaling, and they're going, no, we can no longer say this is fake anymore, that this isn't real. And this isn't all the evidence. There's still multiple trials ahead with this. And I think that's a sign that people are changing. So part of my reason for making this video is to, talk about something that's been on my mind. And then also express that, hey, if you're mad about, what's going on with the Supreme Court and what happened, we're right now at a point where, right now, with these January 6 trials, they are actually causing people to rethink their minds and maybe not change their beliefs entirely, but understand a little bit more. And we're getting people closer to coming out of that echo chamber, that cult that they were a part of for all 4 years that Trump was in office. And that's not saying that you're a bad person if you were a Trump supporter at one point or whatever. Because believe me, I'm that's the other part of it. I feel angry in the sense that knowing that I was lied to, right, by these people. I was tricked by these people. I was angry at people that probably I should have never been angry at in the first place. I'd made jokes that in retrospect were very ill-informed, and like, knowing what we know now, like, I used to make jokes about Nancy Pelosi, and then knowing what we know now about what happened January 6th, I wouldn't do that anymore. Because it's kind of gross when you realize what they were doing to you and what they were, contorting your mind a little bit to think and feel. It's very interesting. And, and they've already shown that, with the midterm elections coming up, majority of those are being voted Democrat. There's lots of polls showing that, and I think a lot of that has to do with the Supreme Court's decision, but also January 6th. And I think that that's kind of an interesting to look at. So while people are angry about, things that they should be rightfully angry about, horrible things, change is coming. And that's kind of the point of this video, is to say, change is coming. Change is not immediate. Change is not now. But I think that's how I'm been able to, like, finally move on from this. I'm still frustrated when I watch these trials that people let this kind of behavior happen, let it get to as far as it did, ignored obvious signs. The fact that I let myself ignore obvious signs that this man wasn't right, that people supporting him weren't right, or whatever it is. I mean, even, but that's just how it is. We all ignore things because we don't realize how bad they are. And sometimes it takes, literal, like, violent attacks to make us realize where we screwed up, where our beliefs, hurt us. And, so in a way, I'm not ashamed that I was ever a supporter of this man, because at the end of the day, we were all tricked and lied to. And it's no longer if you were a Trump supporter, you were a bad person. And it should have really been that either. Most bad political takes are built on ignorance and not actual being a good or bad person, for the most part anyways. I would say that. But so that's my thoughts, basically. I'm not going to turn this into a political talk channel, but I just want to say this. Thank you guys for watching.